Small steps, big change. The power of daily progress. Keynotes. Consistency over intensity brings lasting transformation. Tiny habits build unshakable foundation. Progress is more important than perfection. Proactivity is a vote for the person you're becoming. Those combatives. Momentum starts when excuses end. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Celebrate the small wins to sustain motivation. 8. Discipline in the dark produces greatness in the light. Growth is hidden in daily struggles. 10. The compound effect of one more step. Introduction. What if I told you the greatest changes in your life would not come from giant leaps, but from the tiniest of steps? That the key to unlocking the dreams buried deep inside you isn't about grand moments of inspiration, but the quiet, ordinary, unseen acts of consistency. We live in a culture obsessed with speed, with the flashy, with overnight success, but real transformation doesn't come like lightning. It grows like a seed. And the seed grows not in bursts of motion, but in daily rain, in consistent sunshine, in the silent rhythm of time. The most powerful people on this earth, the disciplined, the successful, the joyful, aren't those who did something massive one day. They are those who decided to take responsibility for the small steps every day without applause, without recognition, without needing permission. They woke up, they showed up, and they pushed forward even when the results didn't show up right away. They understood that progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable, and they kept going. In this message, you're going to discover a secret, a truth hidden in plain sight. A truth that can change your marriage, your health, your mindset, your finances, your entire destiny. And the truth is this: big change is not made in the big moments, it's made in the small ones, repeated consistently. When you master the art of daily progress, you unlock the power of unstoppable momentum. Not just for one season, but for a lifetime. So I challenge you, don't just hear this message. Let it go deep into your bones, because something inside you knows there's more to your life than just surviving the day. You weren't born to repeat the same cycle. You were born to rise. And it doesn't start next month. It starts today, with a small step. Consistency over intensity brings lasting transformation. We often believe that if we're going to change something about our lives, it has to be done in a massive, dramatic, all-consuming way. We wait for that burst of motivation to strike on January 1st, or when we hit rock bottom, or after a big failure. We think, this is it, I'm going all in. And maybe we do, for a day, for a week. We push hard, we give it everything, and then what? We crash, we burn out, we return to the same cycles that drained us in the first place. But real change isn't birthed in intensity. It's forged in consistency. Think of water. A raging storm may seem powerful, but it passes. It comes and goes in fury. But a steady stream of water can carve through stone, not because it's violent, but because it's consistent. That's how change works. It's not the one-time gym session that transforms your body. It's showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. It's not one deep conversation that heals a relationship. It's the choice to connect, to listen, to forgive again and again. Intensity demands attention, but consistency builds legacy. The world will always celebrate intensity. It looks exciting, it's easy to post, it's easy to see, but what truly shifts your life is what happens when no one's watching. The small act of waking up early to read, the quiet decision to say no to that temptation, the extra 5 minutes of prayer, of reflection, of planning your day. These are the unglamorous choices that shape your character, and character is what determines your destiny. Let's bring it closer to home. You want to be more confident? It won't happen from one motivational video. It will come from the repeated decision to speak up when you want to stay quiet, to stand tall when you feel like shrinking. You want to save your marriage? It won't come from one grand gesture of love. It will come from the daily choice to be kind when you're irritated, to listen when you'd rather escape, to serve when it's inconvenient. You want to write a book, start a business, lose the weight, find peace in your soul? Then show up every single day. There's power in the small. Here's what makes consistency hard. It's not celebrated. It's not sexy. It doesn't get likes or shares. In fact, sometimes it feels invisible. But just because your effort isn't being seen doesn't mean it isn't working. Seeds grow underground. Roots form in silence. Muscles are built in the soreness between workouts. Minds are reshaped in the quiet moments of reflection. Consistency may not be loud, but it is unshakable. And the truth is, God honors consistency. He blesses the faithful. The servant who shows up with 2 talents and multiplies it daily will receive more than the one who waited for a perfect moment. Because the faithful are fruitful, the steady are trusted, the consistent are refined. So if you've been feeling discouraged because the results aren't immediate, take heart. You're building something. You're growing something. You are being transformed not in a flash, but in a rhythm, day by day, hour by hour, breath by breath. Your victory is not in your intensity. It is in your consistency. It's time to stop chasing quick fixes and start building long foundations. It's time to believe again in the process. It's time to trust the quiet, because the ones who change the world are not always the loudest, but the most consistent. Tiny habits build unshakable foundation. When you look at a mountain, you see something massive, immovable, unshakable. But that mountain didn't just appear one day. It was formed layer by layer, pressure by pressure, moment by moment. That's the secret of tiny habits. They may seem small, but they carry the power to build a life that cannot be shaken. And the truth is, the most successful, resilient, grounded people don't just do big things. They master the small things consistently. Tiny habits are not about achieving instant results. They're about crafting a system of action so simple that resistance becomes irrelevant. Want to start exercising? Don't set a goal to run 5 miles a day. Start by putting on your running shoes. Want to become a reader? Don't commit to finishing a book a week. Just read 1 page a day. You see, it's not the size of the habit that matters. It's the frequency and consistency. Because once a habit is planted, it begins to grow roots, and those roots begin to shape who you are becoming. You're not just building habits, you're building identity. Every time you repeat a tiny habit, you're saying to yourself, this is who I am. And that is far more powerful than willpower. Willpower fades, identity lasts. A person who writes a paragraph every day becomes a writer. A person who walks 5 minutes a day becomes someone who moves their body. A person who speaks kindly once a day becomes someone who values compassion. The transformation doesn't come from the size of the step, it comes from taking the step daily. Most people miss this because they chase motivation, not momentum. Motivation comes and goes, but momentum is built when small habits are practiced consistently. It's the daily brushing of your character. It's the stacking of tiny wins that form something far greater than the sum of their parts. One small change may not seem like much today, but when repeated over a week, a month, a year, it becomes a legacy. That's how habits work. They don't just change your day, they change your direction. When storms come, and they will, it's not the person with the strongest intentions who stands. It's the person with the strongest foundation. And foundations are laid not in dramatic moments, but in quiet disciplines. It's in choosing to wake up when it's easier to sleep in, to speak life when negativity is louder, to walk in purpose when distractions pull at you. So never underestimate the power of one small habit done with intention. That habit, though silent and simple, is a seed. And over time, seeds grow roots. Roots form strength, and strength becomes legacy. Tiny habits aren't just daily actions. They are building blocks of an unshakable life. Progress is more important than perfection. One of the greatest obstacles to personal growth is the silent enemy called perfection. It hides behind high standards. It masks itself as excellence. But in reality, perfection is often just fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. And while perfection paralyzes, progress liberates. You don't need to be perfect to move forward. You just need to keep moving. Progress is messy. It doesn't always look beautiful. It's filled with detours, slip-ups, and lessons learned the hard way. But that's how you grow. That's how you evolve. Every mistake becomes a teacher. Every stumble becomes a stepping stone. The key is to keep walking. Because in the journey of becoming your best self, progress will take you places perfection never could. Think of a child learning to walk. They don't wait until they can do it flawlessly before they take their first step. They fall, they wobble, they cry, but they keep trying. And with each attempt, their muscles strengthen, their balance improves, and eventually walking becomes second nature. If a child demanded perfection on day one, they'd never take a step. And yet as adults, we often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect version of ourselves to start. But that moment never comes. You must be willing to begin while you're still becoming. Waiting for perfection delays your purpose. It holds your dreams hostage. But progress, small, humble, persistent progress unlocks your potential. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to take the next step, write the next line, show up for the next workout, apologize after the mistake, try again after the failure. Progress honors your humanity. It gives you space to grow, to adapt, and to rise. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. No one has it all figured out. Everyone is learning, stumbling, evolving. Even the people you admire most have behind-the-scenes moments of doubt and difficulty. So why should you demand perfection from yourself when even the greats embrace the process? Celebrate progress, track the steps you've taken, look back and recognize how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. That recognition builds momentum, and momentum is what keeps you going when motivation runs dry. Remember this, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be consistent, to grow, to evolve, to get a little bit better each day, because a life lived chasing perfection ends in exhaustion. But a life lived in pursuit of progress ends in transformation. So take the pressure off, give yourself permission to be imperfect, and commit instead to daily progress. That's where real change lives. 4. Every day is a vote for the person you're becoming. Your future isn't created in a single moment of inspiration. It's shaped in the quiet, unseen decisions you make every single day. Every choice, no matter how small, is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to start casting the right votes consistently. Think of your life like a ballot box. Every action, every habit, every decision you make is like placing a vote in that box. When you choose to eat healthy, that's a vote for a healthier you. When you decide to show kindness in a heated moment, that's a vote for a more patient, compassionate you. When you resist the urge to procrastinate and focus instead, that's a vote for a more disciplined, productive version of yourself. No single vote defines you, but over time, they all accumulate. And eventually, the person with the most votes wins. The good news is you don't need a perfect record to win the election of who you become. You don't have to make the right choice every single time. You just need to make the right choice more often than not. You can fail, you can fall, but the moment you choose again to stand up, to try again, to take one more small step, that's another vote in the right direction. Transformation doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from outnumbering it. This principle is empowering because it means your past doesn't define you. You're not stuck. You're not a prisoner of yesterday's decisions. You can start making different choices today, casting new votes, building a new identity. Every day you wake up is another chance to choose who you will become. Are you voting for discipline or delay, courage or comfort, growth or stagnation? What makes this powerful is that it brings your focus back to the present. You don't need to worry about the next 10 years. You don't need to solve everything right now. All you need to do is make a decision today that aligns with your future self. Because when you consistently cast votes for the life you want, that life eventually becomes your reality. So ask yourself, who do you want to become? Not in vague dreams, but in daily decisions. That version of you is not out of reach. It's being built in this very moment. In the next action you take, in the next thought you dwell on, in the next word you speak, you're not waiting to become that person. You are creating them vote by vote, step by step, choice by choice. Cast your votes wisely. The results are cumulative, the identity is formed, and the life you long for is not found in wishing, it's found in choosing. Every day is your chance. Every step is a vote. 5, momentum starts when excuses end. Excuses are the silent killers of progress. They sound reasonable, they feel justified, and they often come dressed as protection. But make no mistake, every time you choose an excuse over action, you lose momentum. And without momentum, even your greatest potential stays locked up inside you. The shift begins the moment you decide to silence your excuses and start moving, even if it's just a small step forward. Excuses have one job: to keep you comfortable. They tell you it's not the right time. They whisper that you're too tired, too inexperienced, too late, too early, too broken, too overwhelmed. But the truth is, the people who accomplish big things aren't the ones with perfect conditions. They're the ones who stop waiting for them. They've learned to act in spite of feelings, to show up when it's inconvenient, and to move forward even when doubt is loud. Momentum doesn't come from motivation, it comes from movement. The first step is the hardest. because it requires you to overcome inertia. But once you take it, your body, mind, and spirit begin to align with action. Each small move builds on the last. That's how momentum is born. It's not created by giant leaps. It's built by faithful steps, taken over and over again, until the direction becomes stronger than the distraction. The lie is that you need to feel ready. But if you always want to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is a decision, a resolve, a commitment to begin where you are with what you have. It's a refusal to let excuses run your life, because the longer you listen to them, the deeper their roots grow. Excuses do not protect you, they paralyze you. And here's the thing about momentum. Once you build it, it starts working for you. The same way inaction breeds more inaction. Action breeds more action. A 5-minute walk turns into 10. A simple journal entry becomes a mindset shift. A single conversation starts a healing process. The moment you stop arguing for your limitations, you give your future permission to grow. So let this be your wake-up call. You don't need perfect plans. You don't need ideal circumstances. You need to begin. Excuses will always be there, but they only have power if you listen. Momentum is waiting for you on the other side of your decision. And once you decide, everything changes. Your future isn't held back by your potential. It's being delayed by your excuses. End them, shut them down, move anyway, and watch how fast momentum begins to rise in your life. 6, focus on the process, not the outcome. In a world obsessed with results, outcomes, and success stories, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth by how quickly you reach your goals. We're taught to fix our eyes on the finish line, the promotion, the six-pack, the recognition, the breakthrough. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't live in the outcome. It lives in the process. And those who win long-term are the ones who learn to love the process more than the prize. The process is where your character is built. It's where your mindset is shaped. It's where your resilience is tested and refined. The outcome may be your destination, but the process is your training ground. Without it, you're not ready for what you're asking for. That's why the process is never wasted. It's working on you even when you don't see the evidence. And if you only value the end result, you'll miss the daily miracles happening in the middle. When you focus too much on the outcome, pressure builds. You feel rushed, overwhelmed, and often discouraged when things don't happen as fast as you expected. But when your heart is fixed on the process, on showing up, on being faithful, on growing through every challenge, peace enters the equation. You stop striving and start flowing, because your joy is no longer tied to a result. It's tied to obedience, consistency, and personal growth. Think of a farmer. He doesn't stand over the soil demanding a harvest the day after he plants the seed. He respects the process. He waters. He waits. He works the land. He trusts the rhythm. And in due time, the harvest comes, not because he forced it, but because he committed to the process. The same is true for your life. You are planting seeds with every habit, every act of discipline, every small decision. Stay rooted in the process. The fruit will come. The most fulfilled people are not the ones who chase outcomes. They are the ones who show up for the work, who fall in love with learning, and who embrace the grind as part of the glory. If you only value results, you'll quit too soon. But if you value growth, you'll keep going long after the excitement fades. Outcomes are not in your control. Effort is, discipline is, faith is. You can't always control the harvest, but you can control how you show up to the field. And that is where power lives. So shift your focus. Let the outcome be a byproduct, not the obsession. Put your energy into the process, into becoming the kind of person who wins, not just the person who wants to win. Because if you stay faithful in the process, success won't just visit your life. It will be built into your life. One step, one day, one moment at a time. Celebrate the small wins to sustain motivation. In the journey of growth, people often wait for big breakthroughs to feel like they're making progress. They hold off on celebrating until the mountain is climbed, the book is finished, the debt is gone, or the goal is reached. But the secret to lasting motivation isn't in waiting for major milestones. It's in learning to celebrate the small wins along the way. Why? Because small wins are proof that you're moving forward. They are the fuel that keeps your fire burning when results seem slow and progress feels invisible. Every little victory, no matter how small, is a sign that your efforts are paying off. Woke up on time? That's a win. Chose water over soda? That's a win. Journaled your thoughts? That's a win. Didn't give up when you wanted to? That's a huge win. If you only celebrate the final destination, you miss the miracle of the journey. And the journey is where you're being shaped. Your brain thrives on reward. When you acknowledge even the smallest achievement, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation and reinforcement. That chemical reinforces the habit, increases your drive, and trains your mind to pursue more of what works. But when you constantly overlook your progress, discouragement sets in. You begin to feel like your work doesn't matter. You start asking, what's the point? And eventually you stop trying. Celebrating small wins isn't about pretending you've arrived. It's about honoring the fact that you're on your way. It's about building confidence through momentum. When you give yourself permission to pause and say, I did that, you build emotional and mental endurance for the road ahead. This principle also teaches you to value progress, not perfection. Life isn't a straight line. There will be setbacks. There will be delays. But if you're only measuring success by big leaps, you'll overlook the quiet victories God is working in your character. Maybe you didn't hit every goal this week, but did you show up? Did you keep going? Did you learn something? Then you're not behind. You're building something. Think of it like climbing a staircase. You don't wait until the top floor to feel proud. You celebrate every step that gets you higher, because every step matters. Every inch forward is evidence that you're changing. And over time, those small wins accumulate into a lifestyle of success. So shift your mindset. Start noticing the small things. Start rewarding your effort. Celebrate when you say no to something toxic. Celebrate when you stay calm in a storm. Celebrate when you choose discipline over distraction. These are not minor things. They are major victories in disguise. When you celebrate the small wins, you sustain your energy for the long haul. You remind yourself that growth is happening, and that's what turns a short-term effort into a lifelong transformation. 8. Discipline in the dark produces greatness in the light. The world is quick to admire greatness when it's on display. The athlete holding the trophy, the entrepreneur on the magazine cover, the speaker commanding a room, the artist going viral. But what the world doesn't see, what they rarely celebrate, is the discipline that was built in the dark, the countless unseen hours, the lonely choices, the quiet sacrifices. Because true greatness is not born in the spotlight. It's forged in silence. Discipline in the dark is about doing the work when no one's clapping. It's choosing the hard right over the easy wrong when no one is watching. It's saying yes to consistency and no to convenience. And it's trusting that your private commitment will one day produce a public reward, not for applause, but because the process has made you strong enough to carry the weight of success. You see, the spotlight is not the goal, it's the test. And only those who have built deep roots in discipline can stand when the light shines on them. Without the dark room of preparation, the platform will crush you. Talent may get you noticed, but discipline keeps you there. Passion may get you started, but discipline finishes the race. Think of a seed planted in the soil. Before it ever breaks through the surface, it fights through darkness. It grows roots, it finds stability. No one cheers for the seed underground, but it keeps growing anyway. That's what discipline in the dark looks like. It's the early morning workouts, the late night studying, the choosing of humility over ego, the obedience in secret, the prayers whispered when you're at your weakest, and the faith to keep showing up even when no results are visible. This kind of discipline builds depth, it builds integrity, it builds identity, because when you learn to master the dark, the light doesn't change you, it reveals you. Many people crave the results of greatness, but are unwilling to endure the preparation. They want to shine without struggle. They want to be seen without first being shaped. But you can't skip the dark seasons. You can't avoid the process. The oil comes from the crushing. The gold comes from the fire. The strength comes from the resistance. And the anointing comes after the testing. So don't despise the hidden seasons. Embrace them. That's where you become dangerous. That's where your roots go deep. That's where your habits form. And when the time comes for you to be seen, you won't need to fake it. You'll be ready because you've already lived it when no one was looking. Discipline in the dark is not glamorous, but it's glorious. It's not about being perfect. It's about being faithful. And in the kingdom of growth, faithfulness always leads to fruitfulness. So keep pressing, keep preparing, keep obeying. One day, what you did in secret will echo in eternity. Conclusion: what if the breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't found in one massive decision, but in a series of small, consistent steps you take every day? What if the greatness within you is not unlocked by perfection or pressure, but by simple daily progress? The truth is, everything you long to become is already within reach, if you're willing to start small and stay steady. You've now seen how powerful those tiny actions are, the way consistency transforms, the way habits build identity, the way progress defeats perfection, the way every step you take is a vote toward the life you truly want. Momentum begins when excuses end. Growth accelerates when you stop idolizing the outcome and embrace the process. And when you learn to celebrate small wins and build discipline in the dark, you become unstoppable in the light. Real change doesn't shout, it whispers, it's quiet, subtle, patient. It's waking up one day and realizing that you're not who you used to be, not because of one giant moment, but because of 1,000 small ones. The small step you take today might feel invisible, but over time, it becomes irreversible. That's the power of daily progress. That's the path to lasting transformation. So don't wait for a perfect day to start. Start today. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Take the step in front of you, and then take the next one. Your future is not somewhere out there waiting. It's being built with every small decision you make right now. Thank you for walking through this journey with me. Thank you for opening your heart to a message that isn't about hype, but about hope. My prayer is that these words didn't just motivate you, but moved you to act, moved you to trust the process, moved you to believe again. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too small. Your steps matter. Your effort matters. Your journey matters. So thank you for showing up for your future, for your calling, and for the person you are becoming. Keep going. Keep growing. The big change you desire is already unfolding. One small step at a time.